Hey everybody, my name is Anne, and a year ago I was in a really scary situation with my house. I was laid off from a job that I'd held for over 10 years, and even though I was able to get another job and even took on a second part-time job, I was still making less money and I fell behind in my mortgage payments. I stayed in contact with my mortgage company, but even though we were still in communication, one afternoon someone showed up at my house and I'll be right there. Served me with a foreclosure summons and complaint, which looks like this. You can probably imagine that my first impulse was just to shove the papers in a drawer and completely ignore the situation, but I'm really glad I didn't do that because by staying involved in the process, I learned a ton about foreclosure in Maine, and I wanted to share a little bit about what I learned with you. It was actually interesting that the first thing I learned was that I had 20 days to respond in writing, and it was easy. All I had to do was fill out the response sheet that was attached to the complaint, which is this page. Okay, so like I said, filling out that response form is really easy, just takes a minute. That's that response form sheet. And filling out that response form accomplishes two things. It's a formal written response to the complaint, and it's also a formal request for mediation. You want to make sure to send a copy of that response to the court as well as the plaintiff's attorney. And you'll find on the summons page, the plaintiff's attorney's address is in this lower corner, so you'll just look for that there. You might think that you are planning to sell your house or just give the deed back, but still go ahead and fill out that response form because you may be able to negotiate those options during mediation. So definitely everybody should fill that out. Okay, so once you've responded to the summons and complaint, the next step is that you'll get a notice from the court telling you when to attend an information session. And if you want mediation, you have to attend that session. When you go, you're not by yourself. You're in a room with a bunch of other homeowners, and all of you are being educated together about how to prepare for mediation. It's not as awkward as it seems. It's kind of nice, actually, that you're all in it together and you're all getting educated together. And then once that information session is done, then you have 21 days to submit all of the requested financial information. Everybody's is a little bit different. These are my blank pages. It started with this worksheet. When I was done, this is what mine looked like. So it was a lot. There was a lot of information that I had to submit. You'll see they asked me for pay stubs and bank statements and tax returns. So there was a ton of stuff. But everybody needs to be really thorough, submit every single page of every document that they request. Make sure to send it to the court, send a copy to the plaintiff's attorney, keep a copy for yourself because you'll probably need it again in the future. So there's a ton of stuff, but it's actually, one thing that was really helpful to me was that I got free help from the Maine Foreclosure Hotline. And they were awesome. They connected me with a wonderful local housing counselor, and she walked me through everything and made it so much easier for me. She told me two really important pieces of information. First, she told me how I could find out the total current value of my home, and she also told me where on the Pine Tree website I could find out information about my particular type of loan. And every state's foreclosure program is different, and she was able to talk to me very knowledgeably about how the mediation process works in Maine. So that was essential that I worked with a local awesome person. And what I found out is that most mortgages are covered under the federal modification program called HAMP, under the Making Home Affordable program. And I really wanted to stay in my home, but even if you find out that you're not going to be able to stay in your home, there still might be options for you under the Making Home Affordable program. You might still be able to do like a short sale or a deed in lieu of foreclosure. So just find out all of the options you have available. If you do qualify for HAMP, which you want, your payment will drop to 31% of your monthly gross income. But even if you don't qualify for HAMP, make sure to talk to your mortgage company because they still might have in-house options that will be of benefit to you. So just do thorough research so that you're really prepared and you know all of your options. During mediation, there is a spreadsheet calculation, and it's called the FDIC NPV test. NPV stands for net present value. And she told me that the best way that I could prepare for that would be to go to checkmynpv.com. I was really pleased because when I ran the calculation, it looked good. It looked like I was pretty likely to be eligible for HAMP, which was awesome. She told me what to expect in the mediation. So I knew that the plaintiff's attorney would be present, the mortgage company's attorney, but it was a little bit surprising that there was also a representative from the mortgage company present on the phone. So that was a little weird. The mediator ran her calculation, the calculators looked good, and then the mortgage company representative told me that I was in fact not eligible for HAMP, and that was really scary to hear and really confusing. I couldn't figure out why that would be. So I kept asking questions, and we finally figured out that even though I'd submitted all that paperwork before, for whatever reason the mortgage company didn't have any record of the pay stubs from my second job. So without that information, we didn't have everything we needed, and we had to schedule a second mediation, which was very frustrating and very disappointing, but it does happen. At the end of every mediation, the mediator writes up an official court document called the Mediator's Report. And in it, she listed everything that had happened during the mediation, including that I had to submit pay stubs from that second job again. She wrote down the deadline I had to submit them by, and she also wrote down that the mortgage company had a deadline when they had to give me a final determination of my HAMP eligibility.
Mom?
1 second, honey. When she wrote that mediator's report, I sort of felt silly because I asked her to keep reading that report over and over to make sure that it was exactly accurate, but we're talking about my house, so I'm totally willing to feel a little bit silly. So she read it back to me when I felt really confident that everything in the mediator's report was exactly accurate. Then I signed the mediator's report. Are you ready for your part?
I want to do it outside.
Yeah, good. For me, my second mediation was the charm. I got my mortgage modified and my foreclosure case was dismissed after that second mediation. I've talked to other people who have been through this process, and everyone has a different experience. Some people's processes go a lot slower. Some people's go off without a hitch. So everyone's experience is unique. One thing you should know is that the Pine Tree website has a ton of great information about common issues and solutions. So definitely take some time and check out that site. And I guess the last thing I want to say is that throughout this entire process, be your own best advocate. Did you want to add anything?
Sure. You can do it.
Good luck.